you've got a newborn baby and you're wanting to breastfeed. I'm going to run through with you a couple of really simple feeding positions that you can use that are some of the easiest to do with a newborn. They're going to allow you pretty good control over your baby and over your breast and help them to latch and feed more comfortably. The first position that works really well for a newborn is what we call the cross cradle hold. So in the cross cradle hold, you're supporting your baby with the opposite arm to the breast you're feeding on. So if I'm feeding on my left breast here, I'm holding baby with my right arm. Now when I'm positioning my baby to feed, I want to think about a few things. I need to make sure they're close. Now when I say close, I mean really, really close. You want to tuck your baby in on what I call the postnatal shelf. That little bit of a baby bump that's left after baby's born. Tuck baby in on top of that and underneath your breasts. Make sure that baby either brings their arms around underneath and above to kind of give you a little hug, or that you tuck baby's lower arm down next to them like a soldier. You don't want to have that arm in between you and baby. It's going to create space, which means baby's not as close and they can't reach as much breast. And that's going to lead to shallow latches and painful feeding. So we're making sure that baby is close. The next thing you want to think about is making sure that baby's head is free. You don't want to position your baby in such a way where either your hand is on the back of their head or they're resting in the crook of your arm. Your baby, when they come to the breast, needs to be able to tilt their head back to bring their chin forward and open their airway to be able to feed. So we don't want anything to be restricting their head. We want to make sure that their body is all in a nice straight line. So try to avoid laying your baby on a feeding pillow and expecting them to sort of turn their head to the side to feed. Make sure they're facing directly towards your breasts. And the next thing we want to think about is having their nose in line with your nipple. So in order to do that, when you get your baby up into position to feed, what works really well is to think about just doing a little slide away from the breast. So if you just slide them just a centimetre or two around, what it will do is encourage your baby to tilt their head back. And what we're doing for your baby is that they're coming into the breast like this. We're doing that little slide so that they end up in this position. So you've almost got a triangle here where their nose, your nipple, and then the point where chin meets breast are the 3 points of a triangle. This cross cradle hold works really well with young babies because it gives you very good control. You can support them across their back and shoulder blades, pull them in nice and firmly with that hand when they open their mouth to latch. If you need some support, you can use a feeding pillow tucked in under their bottom, or you can also use something like a rolled towel or blanket just to prop under their body and under your wrist to take some of that weight off. The next position that I would really recommend for breastfeeding a newborn is called the Stargazing Hold. This is very similar to the rugby or football hold that is quite commonly talked about, but it's much, much easier to do. What you're doing in this hold is that you're positioning your baby with their feet towards your back. Now you don't have to have them straight under your arm like you do with the rugby hold. You've actually got them on a diagonal, so their feet are sort of running down towards the chair or the bed next to you. You're supporting them in the same way that you are in the cross cradle hold, so with that hand behind their back and shoulder blades, leaving their head nice and free to move. You can use, if you need to, a breastfeeding pillow or rolled towel or blanket across your lap. Just make sure you prop that under your hand, not with their head on it, because we still need that head to tilt back. This also allows you to have your other hand free to help shape your breast. And if you have a look in the description box below, I'll leave a link to my breast sandwich technique, which makes a big difference to helping baby to take a much deeper latch. Just like with any other position, we've got baby close, their head is free. Their body is all in a nice straight line, and then before we latch on, we can do that gentle little slide to make sure that they are nose to nipple and chin leading into the breast first. The more that you recline back when you're positioning your baby to feed, the easier it will be. It will help gravity to hold them close, takes the pressure off your arm, and it also taps into their instinctive feeding behaviours that when they're laying more on their tummy rather than on their side or back, they've got better control over their head and neck. So when you get them positioned to feed, think about just scooching yourself forward and leaning back slightly so they're laying on you rather than in front of you.